What's up, Drop Pod listeners? You can check out new episodes of the Drop Podcast every Tuesday and Thursday, wherever you listen to podcasts. You can find all of our content on YouTube at the Drop Golf Podcast and on our socials. That's Instagram and Twitter at the Drop_pod. No matter how you consume us, like, subscribe, rate, review, all that good stuff. Follow and listen along.
Today's episode is brought to you by All County Exteriors, your go to for anything exterior home remodeling. Discover the excellence of All County Exteriors, a third generation leader in premier exterior home remodeling, proudly celebrating over 40 years of success. While most remodeling companies last just 5 years, All County Exteriors has withstood the test of time, consistently delivering top quality roofing, siding, windows, and doors. Their expertise extends from small repairs to large additions, serving homeowners and builders alike. More than just a construction company, All County Exteriors is deeply committed to community service, proudly supporting organizations such as the Make a Wish Foundation, the American Cancer Society, Roofs for Troops, and Parents of Autistic Children. If you have planned to do any exterior remodeling, call now for an instant 20% off savings on your next project. This is a limited time offer. Call now for a free, no obligation consultation. Just call 732 370 2780 or email them at info@allcountyonline.com. That's 732 370 2780 for All County Exteriors for all your remodeling needs. This is the Drop Podcast where we talk golfing in the Garden State. I'm Mike Poro, and this is Ryan Coulott.
What's up, Drop Pod people? Welcome back. It is episode 121. Mike, we have a loaded episode of topics here to cover, but I'll tell you, little lift up behind the curtain here. Mike and I going into later last week, we were like, what are we going to talk about next week? And things seem to have popped up, and so let's jump right into it, shall we?
Let's do it.
Yesterday, the 27th, Mike is still in hibernation for his Mike versus, so nothing came out yesterday as far as a Mike versus. Today, episode 121. Today's the 28th. You can watch us on YouTube. Mike, wave to the camera. You got us live there. Subscribe, watch all of our stuff. That's where all of our videos really live in what we got going on here. If you're watching if you're listening, I should say, you can listen to the podcast anywhere you get podcasts. Wednesday this week is my final Hamilton Farm Hickory course video. It is the 10th hole at Hamilton Farm Hickory, 146-yard par 3. Again, I don't want to hear about, oh, you're playing a lot of par 3s. The Hickory course is a par 3 course, so they're all par 3s. I just said to Mike, it's a big one. It's a beautiful hole. Those that know it are going to be, wow, it's a cool view. They know, those that know, and it's really quite a neat experience playing the 10th hole at the Hickory course. And that's all I have to say about that. It's my best Forrest Gump impression. Thursday this week, we have the founder of GetGolfing.com, the teaching instructor at Ballamore Golf Club, Eric Dekarsky. We had Eric on, and Mike, I met Eric down when I got to play Ballamore when I went down there last year, very briefly. And frankly, when I met him, I didn't truly understand his getgolfing.com and his social media presence. But in the, I guess, year since then, he's really got something good going on. Very good guy. He's young, he's charismatic. Really, really great to have him on, and we go through his history and what he's doing. Eric was a really fun interview again. So Thursday, stay tuned for our interview with Eric. And then Friday, over on the YouTube channel, Physical Fitness Friday, episode 8. Dr. Mike and I are rolling. If you watched last week, I was having a rough week. So Dr. Mike and I did a little more recovery work than normal, but we're back at it for this week. And that's our schedule, Mike. So we got preview review for this week.
How you feeling?
I'm feeling good. I had, just doing a lot of stuff, and yeah, it was just one of those days where, like you try to decide, like, can I power through this, or is this something I need to, you know, take some rest, or actually take to mind. And it was,
Pull the reins back a little
yeah,
bit.
pull the reins is what needed to happen. So yeah, I'm feeling good. It was nice. Again, I've talked about it before. It's nice that I have a kind of a team here, even though it's Dr. Mike and I. But it's nice to have a little bit of a, someone on your side to help you through that. Not like, hey, I'm going to take a rest day, and then you just sit on the couch, maybe stretch for 5 minutes, and then you're like, okay, I'll be good. It's nice to have someone who knows what's happening in the body, how to fix it, do different exercises and stretches for it. So yeah, it was needed, and we're back at it, back on the
Good to
grind.
hear.
Yeah.
Good to hear.
So why don't we go for the schedule? Why don't you hit us with your fast facts?
Well, first off, let's welcome all these new followers and listeners to the podcast. And I don't know, again, I don't know how often you're seeing all this, but your top 10 that was released last week. Okay. We talked about all these different top 10s that we're looking to play, that we've played. But boy, oh boy, your top 10 list caused a lot of controversy here in the Garden State. Okay. It has over 34,000 views already on it. The comments are nonstop to where, they critique us at times misspeaking. So I don't mind the engagement. And I say, listen, mistakes happen. We all make them.
Yeah,
Okay. Not a country club, golf club. My apologies.
got it.
But, but your list just took off. I felt like not only did everybody and their mother comment on it, wow, now the DMs are flooding in with invitations. If you guys need help playing here, you know, send me a link to the podcast. All this going on, which is, listen, I know you don't like to be on your phone a lot, but hell, I was on it nonstop. Absolutely love meeting all these new people. So I do want to welcome all the new followers because it has just gone up. We've gained nearly 500 followers in less than 2 weeks, which is for us absolutely
That's a
insane.
huge bump. Yeah.
Huge, insane. And all these people now rating us, giving us 5.0 ratings, over 250 5.0 ratings on Spotify. Insane for us. So I just wanted to welcome all the new followers and listeners to the program.
Yeah, welcome, guys. I'm glad you liked the content. Yes, misspoke a few times on country club, golf club. I got it right. Sorry, I guess, but I don't know. I don't. You get the point. I don't know if we need to be Captain Literal Man. If I say Bayonne, you know which one I'm talking about. I get the Montclairs, but is it Upper Montclair, or is it Montclair? I get it. Um, but you know, uh, some of the others, we don't need to be as literal as there. But I do appreciate the new followers, the engagement. It does seem like, when we put out content like that, Mike, we don't have the rules. We're just putting the top 10, right? So there's not the rules. So a lot of people I did see commenting about, how don't you have this course on there, right? Atlantic City should be way down the list, right? Remember one guy said, I could name 15 courses better than Scotland Run. Yeah, I probably could too. But that wasn't the list. That wasn't the homework assignment. The homework assignment was that we want to play that it's either never been to or haven't played in a number of years. So there's been some on there, right? Obviously, why wouldn't Ridgewood be on there, right? On the list. Um, why wouldn't Hollywood be on there? Well, we've played those recently. We've been fortunate enough to get to Ridgewood this year. I was at Hollywood last year. Yes, love it. Beautiful. Arguably better than Scotland Run and Atlantic City. But that wasn't what this assignment was. So I think that it did get a whole bunch of engagement for that, which is great. And then once people figured it out, like they were like up in arms, like how what kind of moron is doing this, right? And then right, they give you a podcast, and then once they figure it out, then it drives a little bit more conversation about like why it's my favorite, why do I want to get to Atlantic City more than any other course in New Jersey. So
Yeah, well, listen, it
private
opened
course in
up
New Jersey. So
100%. It opens up the door for me when I'm responding to all these comments about, "Hey, ever listen to the podcast?" Because then they may not know we have a podcast on top of that.
right.
So it invites all these new followers in. So to listen to all these new followers on top of welcoming to the podcast, there's merch. There's merch available. I think it's a great plug right here.
Yeah.
You got hoodies, you got hats, you got t-shirts, all affordably priced. Check it out. It's in the link in our bio. Go check it out. We will say, as we always do, size up. Okay. It does shrink after a little bit, but you see us always rocking. Ryan's got the hat on. I got the hoodie. There's t-shirts out there as well. So I do want to throw that little plug in there to everybody that's new to the game.
Yeah. It's great. I don't have my sweatshirt on today, Mike, but I will say, the last how many episodes have I been rocking it for, for our recording? It's a great sweatshirt. Love the hat. Everything about it. I love. We To toot our own horns, we did a great job with selecting some stuff this time around.
Yeah. So I did want to throw that out there because that thing kind of went off. Everything is happening at Galloping Hill Golf Course in 2025. Where else can you play on 27 holes of golf, practice at a lit and heated driving range, eat and drink all year round at a sports bar, host the wedding of your dreams, and now enjoy one of the only municipally owned golf simulators in the country? The Swing Suite at Galloping Hill uses state of the art unicorn technology that allows you to play any of the greatest courses in the world or use the great technology to work on your game. The newly reopened concession stand serves all of your pub favorites and seasonal beers on tap while you hang out, watch the game, and compete with your friends. Head to learningcenterghgc.com to book your slots now. At the Hill Tavern in the main clubhouse, kids eat free all winter long. The banquet space never shuts down either, hosting over 150 golf outings and over 400 social events per year. Their catering team consistently wins awards each year from the Knot and Wedding Wire. Schedule a tour for your special event at the clubhouse at gallopinghill.com. And to top it all off, Galloping Hill has been chosen for the record 12th time to host the 91st New Jersey Men's Public Links Championship. It's all happening this year at Galloping Hill Golf Course. Let's head into the PGA Tour this past week. And obviously at the Farmers, you kind of saw our guy, Chris Gotterup, name was hovering around the leaderboard the entire week. Okay. There was at one point, he was tied for first at 5 under, Um, Chris ended up finishing T25, which, listen, with those conditions, with that field, it's a good catalyst, I think, and a good jump start to what hopefully can be,
At that
another great
course,
season for
yeah.
him. So top 25 for him. Max and John Pack did make his first cut. Nowhere, in the ballpark of where Chris was, but Max, probably a down week per se for Max, finishing T48. John was T56, but for John, it was his first cut made on the
Cuts
season. So
cuts are always good, and Max, you can't roll top tens, top 20s every week. Otherwise, you're
Scotty Scheffler.
Scotty Scheffler. So, yeah, good for all those guys making the cut. That's awesome, and
Yep.
good for Chris. He won an event last year, but I think if we were to have a chat with Chris, I think he wishes he played a little bit better at times last year, or more consistent. Maybe is the term he would like to use. So hopefully this is a springboard for what's to come this season.
No doubt. And then obviously this week, the PGA Tour is out at Pebble Beach for the AT&T Pro-Am. Now, this is the first signature event of the season. Okay, so just to throw this out there, which means the only guy from our area is Max that's in the field. Chris did not qualify to get in, neither did John Pack. So everybody else is off this week. So obviously we're rooting hard for Max. You get a signature win, and listen, the names are back. The names are back this week. Scotty's in the field.
It's everybody.
Okay.
Yep.
Rory's in the field. Colin Morikawa's in the field. Like we're all the dudes are back.
Mhm.
So if Max wants to get his first win, I mean, hey, listen, this is a great opportunity to get that done.
Mhm. Now, Mike, why is Chris's win last year because it was an alternate event? Is that why it doesn't get him into this event?
Had it been in a regular field event, he would
Okay.
be in. Okay, he'd be in. Like, it still granted him a 2-year exemption, but since it was an opposite field event,
Mhm.
it doesn't carry the same weight as some
Gotcha.
of these others, and he obviously finished outside, the certain top 75, top 50 to make it into guaranteed spots into these
Into these
signature
events.
events.
Okay.
So they're off. Chris and John are off. Max is teeing it up. And
Is
then
there an
as we
alternate
go
event for this week? Is
No.
there? Okay.
Nope.
Well,
Nope.
hey, good
Nope.
luck to Max.
Yep, no doubt. And then this week on the Korn Ferry tours, our guys are back in action. But to quickly recap, okay, because the Bahamas, again, like we talked about last week, had
Somewhat
that weird
odd
Wednesday
timing.
finish.
Yeah.
Yeah. Both our guys missed a cut. Okay. James missed it by two. First week, he missed it by one. And then this week, Ryan missed
Going
it
the
by
wrong
one.
direction.
So yeah. So our guys unfortunately did not make the cut, but they're back in action this week. They're down in Panama. James and Ryan are both in the field. This is like the part of the Corn Ferry Tour where they take like their, Central America trip all the way around, Panama, Costa Rica. They're all over the place
Yeah.
before they come back up to Colombia, before they come back up to the United States.
Good luck to those guys as well. It's just a matter of time. Again, James played so well that first week, minus really one hole.
One hole.
It really was, and sometimes it's early in the season. You're traveling. That Ryan's a little more used to what life on the tour is like, whether it's PGA or Corn Ferry. But for James, somebody who's not used to the travel, being in a different location. I know he's on the DP World Tour last year, but really it's only one season. Ryan's got multiple seasons under his belt of this. It can be you're juggling a lot. It's not just golf. It's not go out and play within your hole, right? Execute. There's a lot of outside factors. So hopefully we can string together some good golf there and figure it out.
No doubt about it. So best of luck to those two guys
Yeah,
down
best
there
of
in
luck to
Panama.
all of our guys.
So I got two things on a main topic list for you
Yep.
this week. Um, and one hits my heart painfully, painfully, because there's nothing I think you know more about me than what I hate. Obviously, no offense, there's probably a lot of things that Mike Poro hates. But when it comes to the game of golf, there's one thing specifically that drives me up the wall. Do you have a guess?
I do. I do. Slow play.
Slow play. And what I can't stand is I actually watched on Saturday the final round. Maybe my guy Chris Gotterup can make a run, maybe he can get it done. He doesn't, no big deal, but let me just watch. When I say the final round of the final group took 5.5 hours to play, I'm not joking. I'm not joking. What an absolute disgrace to the game of golf that it takes them 5.5 hours to play. And what I love most is it was CBS's first tournament covering. So who's out on CBS? A couple of our guys
Yep.
and gals.
Yep. And gals.
Dottie Pepper, you got Jim Nance, and they're on the mic. Nothing I love more is when Dottie Pepper decides to say, it's got to get better, unquote. Frankly, it's not only for the players, it's not only for the fans, it's not only for the telecast, but it's for the game of golf. I can't wait to hear what your take is on 5.5 hours for 18 holes.
Uh, Mike, I'm not as crazy as you are, for sure. You are. If we play a round of 18, if we play 18 holes in 4 hours even, that's too long for you. I'm not that. I'm not in that realm. 5.5 hours for two people is absurd, though. Absurd. You said it perfectly. The word disgrace is just flat perfect for this. The tour, the people who are running golf, they have to do better. This has to be fixed. This is an abomination that needs to be addressed. Stat. It just has to be. There's no reason that it should take this long. There's rules in place, and I'm not going to pretend like I understand all of those rules or how they get implemented or the like. But I do know that there is a shot clock you can put on, not a shot clock, but you can get put on a timer, right? Hey, you guys got to pick it up. This has to be put in place. And I get it. These guys have routines, they have ways to go about them, but There has to be a way to speed this up. You know, if you're the first guy to get to your ball, maybe you get 45 seconds, maybe you get a minute, whatever the tour decides is the best thing. And then the next guy, you should be if you're on one side of the fairway, like if you're on the right side of the fairway, well, you and I would be flipped. You'd be on the left side of the fairway, I'd be on the right side of the fairway. I'm at my ball, right? Give me a little more time because I got there. I got to make some decisions. You should be making your decisions while I'm making my decisions. And it doesn't need to be as soon as I hit it, you step up to it, but it's got to be pretty close to that. There is no reason why it should take this long for them to do all this. And it's not Mike, it's not because they're not like me and looking for golf balls in the woods, in the fescue. You know, they're not going through what their rules options are because they plunked it in the water. These guys are fairway green putt. There's almost no. How often do you see guys that have to take like some kind of big penalty? Yes, it happens. I get that you got to go find your ball. You spend your 3 minutes looking for it. You got to go back to the tee. But it, it's 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 got to be better. It has to be better. It's unwatchable. Really, it's just it leads it leads us to going back to, and I think we talked about this. Where like some of my best naps happen on the couch watching golf, and it's because I can fall asleep at hole 8 and take an hour nap, and they're at hole 12. I missed almost no golf. It's so it's so bad. It's really it has to be changed. And I don't know if they don't want to change it because the longer it goes, the more advertising that's happening, the more commercials they're running, the more like I would imagine that on that side, they don't want to change it. But at some point your product has to be what you're worried about and not the advertising dollars, not the, how many commercials can we show or how long can we be on air for? There's got to be something done here.
Well, I got a few more things here for you. And to your point there, listen, there's not going to be advertisers anymore because the viewership is going down. So if they think, okay, we're going to go longer because it's going to bring in more ad money, well, the advertiser's not going to want to be there because if you looked at the ratings, they're straight plummeting. So clearly a change needs to happen. But I got two stats here for you with that.
Okay.
The front nine, the front nine this week, the front nine on Sunday. Do you know how long it took? Take a guess. The front nine alone.
3 hours, two and a half
2
hours.
hours, 2 hours and 50 minutes for the front nine. If you and to your point,
So they're
you
faster
say,
on the back and they should be slower because the back, there's more intensity.
well, I mean, 3 hours, it's probably a little longer. I mean, 3 and 3, it's 5.5 hour rounds, more or less, you
Yeah.
know. But I'll say this to your earlier point, you say 4 hours, right? For you, 4 hours is a good amount of time.
Hmm.
Do you know how many holes these guys would have played if they played in 4 hours? I have it right here in front of me.
Do you?
How many holes?
18 is 5.5. So take an hour and a half. I'm going to say 13.
12 holes completed if they played in 4 hours.
Wow. So
4 hours, 12 hours.
so that
12
means
holes, 4 hours.
so 13, 14, 15, 16, 17. So 6 holes then in an hour and a half. So that tells me then that something like somebody got off the course and play sped up. Or like the later groups, I'm sorry, the earlier groups sped up. Like they were the ones slowing play. That's what I take from that. No?
Well, here's the thing. I think it's people. I don't know. I think it's certain guys. I think we all know Patrick Cantlay, for example, is very slow. But Patrick's not in the field this week, so it wasn't him. Harris English, who won the tournament, was unbelievably slow. Very methodical, very just deliberate, very just matter of fact. And I think it's getting to the point where even Dottie says this very well that it needs to be more of a respect issue. You need to have more respect for the game. You need to have more respect for the fans. You need to have more respect for the broadcast, everything in between, because it's getting to the point where, like, I can't watch that. And if you're taking that long, and then people are going to counter with, well, Mike, he won the tournament. Harris English won. He probably did it the right way. Listen to me. There's the right way is arguable amongst so many different people. You've got to be able to get up. You got to be able to assess your situation, and then you got to hit. And the fact is that nobody's holding these guys accountable. And if you're not going to hold them accountable, why would they change? Why would they change? And there's got to be someone that can't be afraid to be that person to stick their nose out and say, hey, listen, two-shot penalty. If you don't catch that group in front of you, two-shot penalty. And then we all know if you start hitting guys' wallets and you start making them fall further back on the leaderboard, they're going to get angry. But you know what they'll do? They'll pick up the pace.
Do you think it needs to be shots or can it be fines? So my wonder is if you're assessing them shots, now you're affecting the the
The tournament.
tournament more. If you assess them fines, maybe they'll speed up.
Well, here's my to answer
Because
that question,
then also
I
you
would
could take the fine money and you could send it to a charity. You could do like PGA Tour could do a lot of stuff with the money that they would accrue from that. So
right. My answer to you would be like, these guys have so much money, they don't care about fines. Fines are irrelevant. But if you tell me I go from finishing in number 51 on the FedEx Cup list and I automatically miss out because of a two-stroke penalty that I got assessed at the Farmers,
yeah,
and I could have been in the top 50 and I've been exempt for all these things, that would hit these guys a lot harder than their paychecks. So
gotcha.
to me, it has to be the tournament. And there's got to be somebody amongst the PGA Tour that is willing to say, hey, listen, enforce our rules, enforce them.
Yeah.
But
Doesn't
until they
and
do
each
that,
group has a rules official, right?
yes,
So are these guys just aren't
they're,
doing their
listen,
jobs, and they
I
must
think
be
they're
just
afraid.
like they're.
They're
That's what I
afraid.
was just gonna say. They just must be afraid. Like they don't want to be the guy that starts the. You need someone to be the first one to
Be the martyr.
jump or push or whatever it is, and get these guys going. It's crazy. But
I'll
to
give you one.
but to
I'll
the
give you one. Go ahead,
to
finish.
to keep going with this, there were times where there was like two or three tee box like groups on a tee box. So where is the gap then in other groups? Like if there's a gap, that's an obvious one, right? If everybody is moving slowly, right? So stay with me for a second. If the entire group, first group goes off of one, next group goes off of one, and they're moving in unison, and then another group goes off of one, and they're all slow, but they're all in unison. There's nowhere to go. I would say that that's harder to police than, hey, you went and found your ball, you hit it in the woods, or you're playing slowly. Even if it's just that, hey, you this group is too slow. There's a hole in front of you. You got to pick it up. If there's not that hole in front, where is the speed supposed to come from? If in
Well,
unison they're not doing it. So that would be
they
the only other thing I would say with that is that if there's a gap, just like the Ranger, you go to any public track, the Ranger's going to come out and say, "Hey guys, you got to pick it up. There's a hole and a half in front of you, right? If I got to come back, you're picking up, and we're just going to go to the next hole. Like we're just you got to play faster. There's got to be that. If there's not that, if it's just slow out there because it's congested or there's just everybody is moving in unison, but don't have the room to go. I don't know. There's a sometimes I think there's a few more X factors than
Well, to your point, why the PGA Tour decided to reduce the fields this year was because they couldn't get play completed because it was too slow. So they said their answer was instead of let's hold the guys accountable, let's reduce the field. Clearly, that's not working.
no.
Okay, we all knew that wasn't working. It's always the last three or four groups because the person that's about to win is probably coming from them. So now all of a sudden, now they're taking their time. Now they're a little more deliberate, and that may be the last group, that may be the second to last, that may be the third to last. But you never hear about the early rounds. To your point, because they're hitting and moving.
Yeah.
But now all of a sudden, when you get in contention, now I just slow up and I slow down. And
Oh,
now a normal 4 hour round takes 5.5.
yeah.
It's insane.
It's
But I'll give you one final stat here on this because I think we both agree that something has to be done.
absolutely.
How long did it take the final group to play the first three holes? Now they're
What's
starting
it?
the
Roughly
round.
15 minutes a hole? Is that what it's supposed to be? 10 minutes a hole? 12 minutes
Yeah,
a
you
hole?
got a
Something
par
like that?
three mixed in there too.
Okay. Uh, I'm going to say it was super slow. I think it should have been somewhere closer to 45 minutes. It's probably over an hour.
Yeah, it's over an hour. Okay. So when you do the math, it's over an hour for the first three. It's two and a half, 250 for the front nine. It's 4 for 12 hours, and it's almost 545 for 18, which is just absolutely insane. So to end this right now, they have to do something.
Hmm.
Have to. And I just saw that. I had to bring it up because I was watching and I hear people talk about it. But when I actually
Yeah.
got to experience it, I was like, this is just ludicrous. And I love the fact that Dottie Pepper is not afraid to speak her mind about that as a former friend of the show.
And well, I would say friend of the show, a current friend of the
I
show.
current for yeah, fair point.
She did point it out that it's unwatchable, and it becomes more unwatchable as the round is going on, because if you tune in right as coverage is going, everybody's out on the course. Every hole has a group, maybe more. But as you go through and that last group gets to hole 2, now only 17 holes are taken. Then they get to 3, only 16 holes are taken. So now you get to a point where you're just you're they're showing you guys walking in the fairway, not actually golfing, because we don't have enough stuff to show, because there's not enough people on the course. Yeah, something's got to be done.
Yeah. So that kind of I had to bring that up because
Yeah.
I know that's a major pet peeve of ours. Maybe, maybe me a little bit more so than you, but yes, it was insane. So I got one final thing here for you. And I know last week, as we brought up at the top, your top 10 list went absolutely viral. Okay. Just went insane. So I decided to make a new little segment here. Okay.
Okay. I am nervous about this, just so you know.
I figured you're and just to preface this for the audience, Ryan has no clue what I'm about to do. So we all probably see these different things on TikTok and Instagram where they rank their top 10. And the co-host or the other person just says, okay, you have a list 1 through 10. I'm going to say this and you have to put them in a spot. And that's
Okay.
where it goes. And then at the end, you get to look at your list and say, man, I wish I could do that over because this one's supposed to be here, so on and so
Okay.
forth. So I decided to do this for you because yours more than mine just went absolutely crazy. And maybe you're more, um, maybe you're more, can't think of the word, but people just want to like instigate. You fire people up maybe more than I do, and I like that because I
You're
thought I
already
was the
fired
fire.
up, so that's a
Yeah, yeah. So they're coming at you, and I figured why not see if I can, strike while the iron's hot. They're
Okay.
attacking you. I got my top 10 list for you. Okay, so here's how it's gonna go. This is I'm putting a list together of top 10 golf brands. Okay, and I'm going
Okay.
to give you 10 brands. You have to tell me where you put them. 1 through 10. You
Okay.
can't repeat it. You can't move it after you put them in a spot.
Okay. So
You
you
understand
so
the
you
rules?
so right, if you say ping and I put that as number 1, and then you say Titleist and I want to use that as number 1, can't.
It's out. It's
Gotcha.
out.
Okay.
Are you good with the rules?
Yeah, I've seen this before. I'm versed.
Okay. Best of luck.
Thank you. I'm gonna need it.
I'm gonna go. Here we go. First one, PXG.
PXG. They sponsor our guy Ryan McCormick. They're based in New Jersey? Yeah.
I think they're based in Minnesota.
Okay. I felt like they had a big PXG
It's
situation
all
at,
over.
at Liberty National. Um, I'm gonna be a coward and go 5 right away.
Got it. Next one, Bridgestone.
Uh, see, I like their E12 golf ball. It's a good priced. It's a solid golf ball. The price to what you get ratio, I think, is pretty good, but it's not as good as PXG. I'm gonna go 7.
Next one, Mizuno.
This is a tough one because I don't know anything about Mizuno, and while I've heard some good things, I don't know much about it. I do know I have a friend who has a Mizuno. He got like a driving iron that was Mizuno and loved it. But that said, for me personally, because I don't know anything about it, I'm going to go 10.
Titleist.
Yeah, I think that's got to be number one. Right. I love the AVX golf ball. That's the what I play. Um, I think that's number one.
Callaway.
I think that's got to be number two. If I'm trying to think of, hold on, don't put. I see you writing stuff over there. If I'm got to
I
think of,
am.
if you're gonna have, like, are you gonna have all the big ones, right? So now I'm betting, like, is TaylorMade gonna be in there? Is Ping gonna be in there? So do I like Callaway better than those?
Better tread lightly. You're gonna get. I'm gonna throw some in there. You're gonna be like, "What the
I
hell?
you
That
know
can be
what?
number
I gotta
two?
put it at two, Mike, because my clubs are Callaways. I
All
have
right, so Callaway
my driver and woods are Callaways, so that's
officially
two.
number two. Cobra Golf.
I find the color scheme for Cobra um, a little obnoxious, so I'm gonna go 9. I'm not a
Oh,
big Cobra
wow.
fan. Nothing against them. I
Okay.
just don't.
Okay.
Again, up there with Mizuno. Don't really know much about them, but I know it's
Next
kind of
one. All right, fair. I'll
yeah.
give you that. Ping Golf.
What I got? One, two. I got three, four, six, 8 left.
Yep.
Ping golf. I'm gonna put 4.
Next one. Cleveland slash Strixon, since they're both under the same umbrella.
Okay. Um,
You got three numbers left. 3, 6, and 8. Better tread lightly here.
3, 6, and 8. I think I'm gonna go with the 8 slot there.
Okay. 8 slot there. So you have 2 spots left.
3 and
You have either
6.
3 and 6. Here we go. Wilson Staff Golf.
That's that's got to be 6. Um, I'm sure there's brands that I'm not thinking of right now that are in my, that could be worse than Wilson. But I like Wilson being there. It's not better than PXG, so have it above that, or maybe not better. Again, I don't know all of these brands, in detail or play all their stuff, but yeah, I think 6 is a good one there.
All right. And then the final one I had was TaylorMade.
Thing of beauty there. That's number 3.
3.
Yep.
All right. So here's your list.
Okay.
1, Titleist. 2, Callaway. 3, TaylorMade. 4, Ping. 5, PXG. 6, Wilson. 7, Bridgestone. 8, Cleveland. 9, Cobra Golf. And 10, Mizuno.
I'll
Do
tell
you
you what,
like your
Mike.
list?
I feel pretty good about my list. I really do. The only one that I would flip is uh is Bridgestone and Wilson. I would flip those. I feel pretty good about that list. That was pretty solid.
There you go. So listen, that's your top 10 golf brands ranked in order. I thought, listen, if you're going to get the people fired up, let me try to throw another thing out there for you to do. So I kind of thought that would be a nice little segment
That
there.
was yeah, that wasn't I was nervous. That wasn't as bad as I thought it would be.
I felt like the first time I had to keep the names visible and relatable and not unknown. So I did have my first initial list had 3 wacky golf brands, but I
Yeah.
was like, he's going to not know these. If this
What
is
were
the
the
first
brands?
one, one was like XXIO. Another one was the new Grant Horvat one. All different names. And I was like, these just aren't going to work here because he's going to look at me like I just made these words up.
Yeah,
So I
that's
said,
exactly what I would do.
I better keep this for, at least for the first time. Let me keep it somewhat, known brands.
Okay. Yeah,
So good job.
yeah.
Good job.
How do you feel about my list?
I mean, listen, I definitely would not have Cobra 9. I definitely would not have had I would have had Wilson way probably towards the bottom. I'm not a PXG guy at all. I would have had them towards the bottom. But your top 3, I would have had the same way.
Mhm.
Potentially, I can't see any others getting inside that. So, solid list.
I
Solid list.
feel really good about. I feel perfect 1 through 4. Uh, you're right that again. I just don't know anything about Mizuno or Cobra really. Traditionally, Wilson is one of those like starter set kind of things. So yeah, maybe that should be like 8, 9, 10 for those three. Again, Mizuno. There's people that play Mizuno and love it. I don't feel right. I know zero. I don't know if I've ever swung a Mizuno club. So
Oh, listen, I thought that was a fun little
yeah,
segment
I
that,
like that.
we could maybe toss in every so often
Yeah, I
or,
like that.
every week, just come up with something new.
Yeah, that's good. That's real good.
So
All right, Mike. You got anything else for today?
I
No,
don't. Listen, big things ahead, people. Stay tuned. We got a hot February coming.
we do. We really do. Make sure you stay tuned Thursday. As we said, we had Eric Tokarski on, the founder of Get Golfing, instructor at Ballamore. Again, his social medias are incredible. If you're not following it, go check it out so you can get to see him. But we have Eric on Thursday. Make sure you stay in tune. Till then, cheers.